I just made an AI influencer using this agent in n8n. So this workflow takes in any image that I give it and it generates new styles of photos every single day with captions, hashtags, cinematic scenes, and the actual photo prompts and video prompts to generate those photos and videos every single day. And I can run it every hour, every 5 minutes, every single day if I choose to, and it's going to export everything into my Google Drive so that I can then edit and upload those images whenever I want to. So let's open up n8n here. This is my entire workflow right here. And I'm going to show you piece by piece exactly how I built this, how you can build this, and I'm going to share the workflow down in the comments below. So if you want the actual JSON, make sure to click that link. So let's go in here. Let's go to n8n's first trigger. So the first trigger for any n8n workflow is always going to be the schedule trigger. This is how you're going to tell n8n that you actually want this to run. So for my purposes, I'm going to run this every 8 hours. I'd like to be able to check in, once a day and go into my Google Sheet and have 3 posts ready. That's the schedule trigger node. I'm just going to set it up for 3 times a day. What that's going to do, that schedule trigger node is then going to go to this Google Sheet I have right here, and it's going to get the details for my virtual influencer. So this is that sheet that I put in there. And to do this, you're going to have to first create your Google Sheet authentication. It's a very simple OAuth where you just one-click sign in with Google. So get that set up, sheet within document. You're going to actually click the sheet. So right here you have from the list, this is the influencer details sheet that I made. You can see that they match right here. And then from that list, I'm going to choose sheet 1. So I have no filters in here that I really need, but I'm just going to get all the details from that sheet. And I only have 1 row in here because I'm only doing 1 influencer. But if you wanted to put multiple in here, it'd be really easy to do that as well. And then you can pick, so this one's called Summer Monroe, your 22-year-old California girl. And I have a whole long bio in here about who this person actually is. So it's going to guide the captions and the hashtags and the actual prompts that go in there. And then I have a picture in here of who this person actually is, right? So we're going to need to feed it a photo, and it can't just be a Google Drive photo. It might work if you connect the Google Drive node, but it's much easier to put in a link for a photo that's on a server somewhere. And for our cases, we're going to use fowl.ai. So fowl is a platform where you can connect to any kind of AI model. Not a virtual influencer model, but an AI model. So Fowl right here, if you go to fowl.ai and you go to their Clarity Upscaler, and I'll post this in the show notes as well, you can put in any photo from your own computer right here and then run it, and it will upscale that photo. And for us, we care less about the upscaling, and what we care more about is this actual URL. It's going to, it'll upscale the image just a little bit, but more importantly, it'll give us a URL that we can then pass into other API calls anywhere we want, and that's going to actually call this image for us. And it's just a really easy, convenient, and cheap way to get hosting for your images without having to set up your own server and do all that kind of stuff. So let's click out of that and let's go in and actually pass those details. So we got those details from our Google Sheet. Now we have this, what we call, our picture. And that's going to be a variable that we can use now inside of our workflow. Then we are going to now set up the image prompts. So let's go into our AI agent right here. This AI agent is going to be given this set of inputs right here on the left side, and it gets these these data fields from our Google Sheet. It's going to get the name, bio, and picture, so the photo URL. Right here is the prompt that I'm going to pass in to the image model. So I'm just going to use, or not the image model, just the text model. So I'm going to use ChatGPT, and I will share this prompt in here as well. The more important parts are not the prompt. Actually, I just have some basic stuff like don't do NSF and not safe for work content and stuff like that, because it'll just give you errors like ChatGPT or whichever image model you use, unless you specifically do a not safe for work model, which you can kind of choose whatever model you want. I'm going to show you how to do that. They'll just get flagged because I am using GPT's models. So it's this prompt, and then more importantly, you want to tell it only give me a JSON with the prompt, the caption, and the hashtags, because we want all of those things, right? So and then at the bottom, we're going to pass in the bio of who this person actually is, right? So we have all those things, and now when we actually execute that step, we are going to get back a prompt, a caption, and some hashtags. And what we did here in our OpenAI chat model is we just connected our OpenAI account. You have to make sure to set up your credentials first. We chose the ChatGPT 4.1 model, but right here, when we get back the output, we require a specific output format. So in this node, if you select that, what it's going to do is it's going to give you another option right here. So you have a few options with this agent. You have your chat model, you have your memory, you have tools that you can use. We don't really need memory or tools here, but what we want is an output parser. So what that's going to do is it's going to let us define the output and actually save those fields for us without us having to, go in and like split those items or go in and write another command, like a piece of code to split all of that out. We're going to use this output parser, and we're going to define exactly what we want that output to look like. And it's going to be this JSON, which is going to be prompt, caption, and hashtags. And so when we get that back, this output right here, when we get it back, we are going to get it in a JSON, which is natively readable by n8n, because n8n works in JSON formats. That's how it passes data around from node to node. And so we see that we have these beautiful elements right here that we don't have to format at all. And it's all basically just done for us, right? Because we require ChatGPT to give us a JSON, and then we format it so that we're using that JSON in the way that it's meant to be used. So now we're done with step one. We go in through here. We got our prompt, right? Generate image prompts. That was step one. So we got our prompts, and now we're going to go into step two. So let's go in and generate image. So the next node that we're going to connect this AI agent to, is going to be our general HTTP node. So if you go in here, this is a general HTTP node that I've labeled as generate image. And the way that we are going to use this image, and you guys are going to just be able to copy this entire thing, except for this OpenAI API key right here, because this is my own API key, and you're going to need your own key because, you need to use your own key there. So this thing is going to be past our prompt, and it's also going to need the actual image URL. So this is an image to image model right here. So the way we are going to create consistent images of our AI influencer, we're going to feed it that first image that we got, which was in our influencer details right here, that headshot. And then we're going to feed that in there with the image prompt that we just generated from OpenAI. And it generates a random new one every single time. So sunset beach picnic vibes with Summer Monroe, shoot at golden hour on Santa Monica Beach, sing cross-legged, and it's going to detail in pretty good details, exactly what we want. So to actually execute this, we need to call the API, and the API that we're going to call is another image model, ChatGPT, or like GPT's image model, but we're going to use Foul AI. So if we go into Foul AI, you go in here, and then I have the link for this right down below. So we're going to pass it all those things, and then we're going to execute this step. When we execute this step, what we get is we get a request ID, we get a response URL, we get a status URL, and we get a cancel URL. So let's say I execute this step again, it'll just generate a new image for me. All right, if I unpin and test, right, node executed successfully, and I can actually check in my queue what's happening here, right? So then once that image starts generating, you can see that it's in the queue, right? It's not done yet, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit. So I put in a wait node. For testing purposes, I would just do 5 seconds. Normally, you want to wait about 5 minutes. This is what the production JSON will look like when you actually download this. It's going to be a 5-minute wait period, and then you are going to, after you wait, you're going to get those response URLs, and then you are going to actually get the image, right? So this is another HTTP node right here. What you do is you get the image, right? First we posted it. First we said, okay, generate this image for me. And to actually generate that image, what I need you to do is do this, 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 and this, right? Which is take in this URL, take in this prompt, generate a new image for me with those 2 pieces of data. And then because we're using OpenAI, also take in this API key, call from that person's account, essentially, right? So then we go into our get image. So this is an HTTP request using the get method, and now we pass in our response URL. So this is an actual URL from Foul saying, look, when this image is ready, it's going to be served up at this URL, okay? And this is not the actual image URL. This is the URL for HTTP requests. This is for anybody that wants to get this image. They can call this URL with the proper credentials, and then they can then decide what to do with it. And then once they get it, they'll get the actual image in the URL. So if we execute that step, then we see we get the actual image URL right here. So if we go to that URL, we're going to see that this is the image that was the basis of the video that we're going to create, okay? So it took in the very first image that I passed it, which was this image right here. It took in the prompt that I passed it, which was this right here. Okay, let's see how close it got. Sunset Beach picnic vibes with summer. Shoot at golden hour. Santa Monica. She's in a chic pastel swimsuit. Breezy oversized button down. Camera's angle slightly above. Dreamy vintage style. Okay, interesting. So this is kind of interesting. Summer sitting cross-legged on a pastel checkered blanket surrounded by ice cream cones and crystals. So what it gave me was ice cream cones full of ice cream, which is a little interesting. Not ideal, but it is what it is. And we at least have our image. And the basic image that we started with was this one, right? So it did a pretty good job, I would say. Not bad. At creating the model. So we have our image now, right? Cool, so generate new image, that step is done. What we now need to do is take that image and generate a video from it, right? So you go in here, create a new AI agent, and now it gets past all the data from the previous node, which is the get image node. And it's going to get the URL of the actual image. It's going to get, file name, all these things that are not really relevant for us, but it's going to get everything from before too. So if we want to pass it the prompt, if we want to pass it, really anything else, we can do that. So this prompt says you're a viral social media strategist. So I don't actually want to pass in the image to ChatGPT. It might be a little much, although that's an option that we could do. What I'm going to do instead, though, is I'm going to pass it the image prompt that I just used to create this image, because then it's going to get an idea of what's actually going on in the photo. And from that, I'm going to tell it, okay, now give me a video prompt from this image prompt. So not too complicated. Okay, so now I want to actually get that prompt. I get this prompt back right here. Sarah Monroe winks playfully at the camera as a breeze ruffles her pastel shirt, licking a melting ice cream cone and then glancing away with a mischievous smile. Golden sunlight and lens flares shimmer around her, leaving viewers craving more. Great. Cool. So now I got my prompt, and I did the same thing here. I have my OpenAI chat model. I'm using 4.1, and then I have my structured output where I say I just want a prompt, right? Just give me a JSON where it's prompt. I don't know what happened there, where it's just prompt and then ... It can fill in the blanks, right? So it's going to give me a JSON and a JSON only. And that is step 2 done. Now we go to step 3, generate and save the video. So let's go in here. Let's generate the video. We're going to get the actual prompt, and we're going to be passed in everything from before. So we're going to get the image URL that we just generated, and we're going to get the prompt. So fundamentally, these are the only things we need, right? So now we have another HTTP node right here where we are going to actually generate the video. So this is an HTTP node with the call of post. So we're going to do a post request here. This is the URL that we're going to use now. We're going to use this FAL image to video model, version 1.6. I'm going to use the same exact credential for FAL down below. If you need help with the credentials, just give me a ping, leave a comment, and I can help you out there. It can be a little tricky sometimes. But then we're going to pass it just 2 parameters, which is the prompt and then the actual image URL. Now the image URL is going to be the one that we just generated here. The prompt is going to be the one that we just generated using our agent, and that's going to be what we pass through. And then we're going to just execute that step. When we execute that step, we're going to get the same exact response types that we got in the previous generate image, right? So we get status in queue, request ID, response URL, status URL, cancel URL, right? It's going to be generally the same exact format. Now each model might have different kind of way they interface with the API, how they output their data, but it's generally going to be the same thing. So then same exact process. We're going to set a wait node here because we want to wait for the video to actually generate. And in the production JSON that I send you, you are going to get a 5-minute wait node. You can adjust that if you want, but I would say just wait the 5 minutes, not a big deal. And then we're going to actually want to get our video. So this is actually a little different than the way that we get the image here, right? Because here we just got a response URL and we pass this through. In this generate video node and the get video here. Cool, so now we execute this step and then we get the actual video URL that we want, right? Let's go and see what the output was right here. All right, very nice. So this time she's actually picking up the ice cream and she's going to eat it. Now, there was the initial issue, right, where we had the image created where it's literally generating these like ice cream cones on the ground, which is just pretty unrealistic. And then she picks one up and then she takes a bite of it. But I mean, if I'm being honest, like if I just cropped everything from her legs down, nobody would even notice and it would just be a completely normal video. So yeah, I think this looks fantastic. And again, the main point is like I spent about, right now 20 minutes, 30 minutes going through this and demoing it. But in reality, this whole process is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes a day, all done by the agent, zero work by you. and I'm going to get 3 of these every single day. If I wanted to, I could get 10 every hour, right? Or I could get, 5 every hour and just extend that out, and I could just be posting constantly. But just for having done, just this setup, we can now get really nice quality video outputs that give us consistent characters every single time, and we can do it on a cadence of our choosing, and the output's pretty good. So the final thing I want to do here is I want to actually pass this URL to a new sheet because I want everything in one place. I want it to be saved. I might, I could even do stuff like put in the time that this was generated. Thursday, like I have all this kind of data on the date and the time and stuff. I could put in the prompts that were used. I could put in the hashtags and the captions and stuff like that. So that, in fact, is what we'll do. We will just pass in the URL for now into a new sheet. And once we execute that node, we'll see that it is saving the URL. It's the same exact output right here. And let's verify. All right, there we go. Great. So now we have everything that we need to mass produce videos like this every single day, every single hour if we want, and start doing this. And the reason this is cool is like you're seeing these AI influencers now start to actually make money. They're getting brand deals of their own. They're getting viral moments of their own. They're getting hundreds of thousands of followers. They're getting they're starting to promote apps. They're starting to promote other digital products. So you can definitely make a lot of money with these. Especially in the we live in the attention economy. If you can figure something out like this, you can make a lot of money. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'm going to put the workflow JSON down below. Feel free to download that, and I'll see you next time.